EOF programs. I signed up for them when I was in, I went to a community college first. And I transferred.
Which one?
So I graduated with 3 CPAs, so when I came to NJC, they gave me a presidential scholarship. That helped me along the way to be able to afford my college. I'm looking forward to college.
What a story. You and I have got some Monmouth connections we have to talk about that. Thank you so much. Christy Paris, good morning. How are you?
Good morning and hello. My name is Christy Perez. I'm a criminal justice major and junior, and I'm from Jersey City, New Jersey.
What was your major again, sir?
Criminal justice.
Criminal justice, sir.
As the child of immigrant parents and a first-generation college student, coming to college was a dream not just for myself, but for my family as well. And I remember applying to college. The only person that had to help me was my sister. And she was already an EOF student, and she told me, make sure that you check that box on that application for EOF. And that was actually something that I completely missed. I remember being so afraid when I realized, because I was thinking, wow, my college career, like I can't start now. But I came to NJCU and to the office, and they helped me fix my application, resubmit it, and process it as well. So without that, I wouldn't even be here today or have the opportunity to have accomplished all the things that I have so far. I've been able to study abroad in China, intern at the Student Dean's office. I was able to get a job working as an OSP writing tutor. So I'm currently there all the time. And I'm very active on campus, and those are all things I would not be able to accomplish without this program. So I'm very grateful to be here today.
How was China?
It was incredible. It was an incredible experience. I really grew as like an independent adult because I was there all on my own.
That's fantastic. What a story. Thank you again for joining. Do you mind passing the mic next to you? Ryan Roach is in the house.
Yeah.
Nice to see you.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. So my name is Ryan Roach. I'm from the Jersey City Heights. So I remember my senior year of high school, everybody was all excited about applying colleges and stuff like that. But I really wasn't, because I was looking at like how much tuition would be. So if it wasn't for me learning about New Jersey City University and similar to Christy, I checked the EOF box by mistake. My mom was like, it says opportunity in the name, it has to be good. So I checked it off and I got a call immediately. And if it wasn't for, that mistake, honestly, and if I wasn't an OSP student, I wouldn't be here. I always thought that working was very important, and that was a good way to get yourself established in the world. But I'm very glad that I had the opportunity to be an OSP student. I'm currently a graduate student now in the school counseling track. My work has 3 schools that are for PhD programs interested in what I'm doing. And honestly, if it wasn't for EOF putting me through, giving me the extra stuff I needed, tutoring, huge shout out to the tutoring program here at NJC for OSP. I'm a writing tutor now, and if it wasn't for them helping me with my skills or anything like that, I wouldn't even be here today. So I'm very, very grateful.
Wow, fantastic. And you're a graduate student. When do you expect to be done?
2021, hopefully.
Fantastic. All right, we're rooting for you. Do you mind passing that down next to you? Marina Botros is with us. Good morning. Still morning?
My name is Marina Botros. I'm from Jersey City. I'm a sophomore transfer, and I'm a global business major. This is my first semester at NJC. However, OSP has helped me out a lot throughout the transition and making it more affordable to me. I'm the oldest out of 3 girls, and my parents are immigrants. I'm a first-generation college student, and as a first generation, all the pressure is on you. You have to set the standards for your siblings. Your parents are looking up to you. Although you do have a lot of pressure, your parents don't understand how the college process works and how it is being in college. So OSP has helped me a lot, whether it be from tutoring or monthly meetings with my OSP advisor, or just being there whenever I needed help. And coming to NJCU was a good decision, and I'm happy to be here this semester. And I look forward to continuing and graduating from NJCU.
Very fantastic. Where did you transfer from?
TCNJ.
TCNJ. And this is semester 1.
Yes.
Now I remember, this is probably a story that a lot of us have. I remember applying to college. I'm the last guy who applied to college with a handwritten by ink. I still can't believe I'm in it. And my parents were obsessed that we go to college. But my dad did not get out of high school, my mom did, but she didn't go to college. They had no context. There was no, listen, there was none of that, listen, I've seen this before, let me tell you how this was. There was none. And as you said that, I forgot that's sort of, you're out there kind of on your own, right?
Yeah.
Well done. Congratulations. Alberti, I think we're going to go to you next. Alberti Rosario, nice to have you here.
Oh, yeah. Good morning, everyone. That's good? Okay, perfect. Good morning, everyone. My name is Alberti Rosario. I'm actually from the Dominican Republic. I was raised over there until I was 10, then half here for about 12 years in Jersey City. So I'm 22 now, so it's going to be in half and half. But my parents are from the Dominican Republic. I was actually born in New York City. I'm actually a finance major here at NGCU. I'm actually expecting to graduate now in May, so I'm very excited for that. For me, the UOF has been a very important program just because starting in college, I remember that I was struggling a lot, especially because I was not at college level. So being in UOF helped me a lot because they actually helped me prepare to be able to start the semester right where I had to be. So that was something very important because if it wouldn't be for UOF, I would have actually wasted a good amount of semesters taking classes that were actually going to help me get to where they got me. So that was something that I'm very thankful for. I'm the third member in my family to go to college. The second member was my older brother. He actually graduated from here, from NGCU. He's currently a state trooper for New Jersey.
I love that.
And yeah, I mean, overall, I'm just very thankful for all the help that I have received here at NGCU.
Right, that's huge. What a story. Got some troopers in the room with us today. So. Talk about your brother. Thank you for that. Christian Dowdell, nice to have you with us.
Nice to be here.
Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Christian Dowdell. I'm currently a sophomore here at NJCU. I came into OSP in 2016, and ever since I've come to the program, I've had literally the best experience of my life here at NJCU. This school has done so much for my personal growth as a person, and it's done so much for me as a leader. And having two parents who went to college inspired me as well. And for them both being involved in politics, like for example, my father, he owns a check business named Check World in North New Jersey. I was able to get an internship this summer there. And my mom being involved in Wall Street and all kinds of different things in politics, being a coordinator at Essex County College for a program, they just inspired me to come to college, do the best, and OSP really inspired me to do my best here, not only as an OSP student, but also as a student leader. Because I remember the workshops throughout the summer, how they inspired me to network with different people, make connections. And that's what I did when I came to NJCU. I made connections, I got involved, and I definitely want to continue to leave a legacy here on this campus. So,
Love that. Really well done. Thank you for that. One more student input, then we have a little bit of a discussion. That's our last but not least, Spencer Julius here. Nice to have you.
Good morning. Good morning, Dr. Murphy. I mean, Governor Murphy, I'm sorry.
I wish.
Well, first of all, thanks for actually being here today. Now, let me speak for myself. My name is Spencer. I'm currently a grad student. I just got into grad school as of January 2018. As an undergrad, I studied biology and criminal justice and minor psychology. Now, OSP. When I came in the summer of 2014, I actually came into orientation expecting to be an honor student with the cohort of 2018. Now, I ran into Miss Fair, I remember, and she actually asked me, like, where's your parents? Can I speak to your mom? I said, sure. So when mom came over, she and my mom spoke about the whole program and everything. My mom said, well, guess what? You're going to be having some free money. You're coming to OSP. I said, well, I came here for one thing, and I'm getting to something else, whatever. So get into the program like Christian. I was actually his RA when he came in 2016. So OSP helped me a whole lot. I didn't think I was going to be able to come to college with the fact that my mom had literally just lost her job, and my dad, he was the one supporting the family, and we from a big family as Africans. So OSP really helped me. They got me to where I'm at today over the summer as I take summer classes. take winter classes. OSP was always there for me, buying my books, doing everything it could do for me to help me to be who I am today, and I'm very grateful. Thank you.
I can say without any hesitation that you're the only person I've ever met who had undergraduate majors in biology, criminal justice, and psychology. You stand alone. What great stories, my Lord, help us. I wondered, Sue, if I could ask you a question. We'll have a little bit of a shoot around, maybe throw a question out if we can all answer in a minute. If you could get that magic wand and wave it and achieve a big aspiration that you have here at NJCU, what would the aspiration be, and what would that wand look like?
All right, you're not, well, you will and you won't like this.
That's all right.
When I first got here, I looked across campus and I said, there is one place on this campus where the students get the kind of experience that kids that go to Williams get. You go to some of these private schools, and I've got, my family has friends who went to those places. When they walked in the door the first day, someone's very attentive to who they were as an individual and how to develop them to be full adults. And they gave them support all the way around. And the program that did that is OSP. I mean, they have just been, I said, we've got to do that across this campus. And we are, bit by bit, because the beauty of OSP is because there's extra funding there to provide the support for tutoring. But if you listen to the students, sometimes it's tutoring, but sometimes it's finding ways to have us get out of their way. Making the process easier, give them good advice about what classes to take, get involved, be a student leader, be an athlete, do things, go abroad. By the way, we fund their abroad experiences, and we do that through a number of collaborations that we do because they're important for them to do this. So I would love to know that the rest of my student body gets the same kind of experience that my OSP students. If I could wave a magic wand, and it is that really close attention, they will remember Andy, who runs the program, for the rest of their lives. Yeah. So, and that's true of most of my students. When you talk to the students that walk across the stage, they will name you 2 or 3 faculty or staff that has made a difference in their lives, and they'll remember them forever. And that's been a tradition of this institution since it opened its doors years ago. So that would be my dream.
I love it. There's nothing not to like about that. As I said at the beginning, we can hardly spike the football. We know we need to continue to find more money, and we will. I mean, we talk, as I mentioned, all the time about a stronger and fairer New Jersey that works for everybody. The ticket to getting there is education. It's certainly higher education, but frankly, I think it's the whole food chain, as you all know better than I. It's beginning earlier for everybody, fully funding it, and making sure college is accessible and affordable. Senator, I want to, come on in.
I just wanted to say, TAG is very, very important. But what most people don't talk about when they talk about EOF is what she just described, the support system that they provide for you. I've run a foundation for 10 years, and we've chosen each year students from Jersey City and Bayonne who are C students, not A or B students, because it's easier for them to get a college, to get money. But we found very early on that we took the student who appeared to be the least likely person to succeed and put them with a mentor. The mentor is exactly what EOF does with each and every one of their students. They're there for them, they listen to them, they hear them, and they say an encouraging word whenever they need one. And that's very important. And that's the nicest thing about EOF, is it is there providing that support that our students need.
I would love to jump on that point with both feet, because I fall into this trap. When you look at a budget, you think it was math, right. And to some extent, and by the way, it's big math. It's lots of numbers, and some of it literally is: did you qualify? If you qualified, this is what you get. And that's more in the TAG category, right? So but EOF is a much more holistic notion, and you all are living it. You're great examples it's not abstract. This is, it's changing your life, and I love the way you put that. Somebody is responsible for helping you find your way and pulling you through the system for 4 years. Zakiya, quick question. How does New Jersey, you've had a national Courage and Lumina Foundation, you work for the Obama administration, so you've got, not only are you deep diving in New Jersey, but you've got a perspective. How do we stack up, and is there anything out there that other folks are doing that we should be thinking about doing that advances the ball here?
Well, New Jersey is known for actually having one of the best funded state financial aid programs in TAG and in EOF. And there's a lot going on nationally to think about those other costs that students have, transportation, housing, whether you're off campus, food. And so, talked already to some of the residents in New Jersey, we've got to make sure that we're connecting to social services to make sure that students get that stuff as well. And then obviously came on board here because you want to make sure that colleges are even more affordable in New Jersey. And there's some great initiatives that have already been going on that we want to build on. So that's exciting.
Well said. You know, a completely unrelated policy area is we've got a very tough opioid crisis in this state, as every state does. We put our funding plan out, and a big piece of it is in the indirect investments. Home, food, job, shelter, things that contribute. It's a different reality than higher education, but we also can't just stop at the doorstep of tuition. And the OSP program is a good example of that. It's much more holistic. I think anything we can do that gets us outside the four walls of the institution into what the community, food, other social realities are, the more we can do that, the better, I would think. Angela, if we handed you that magic wand, what would it look like?
Oh, that's a loaded question. But what would it look like? I just want to piggyback on what both Sue and the senator said in reference to mentoring, right? So we have the boys, the big brother, the big sister, and they work. I'm a mentor, and my daughter, when she was in college, she needed a mentor. So yes, you do have an advisor, but you need that person where you can just pick up the phone and say, I'm having a bad day, or I have a big test that's coming, so that they can help you, they can ease your mind. So we can have that one-on-one mentoring for all college students. I believe that would be the best policy where we will allow our students to grow and become well-informed citizens. So, mentoring.
Love that. Maybe let's do a quick, Darrell, I'm going to start back with you, ready? So everybody gets 2 questions to answer. You can either answer either one of them or both, but you can't do none. This is for our students. So 2 things. Do you have a magic wand as you think about your education that you'd suggest to us? Or secondly, where do you think you're going to be in 5 years?
Okay. Where I know I'm going to be in 5 years is I'm going to be graduating with my graduate MBA.
Yep.
And I plan on working for the government because that's where I plan on going.
In New Jersey, Howard?
Yes.
Oh, please. Gotta keep you home, man.
Jersey is where I'm from, born and raised. So yes, that's where I will be in 5 years.
Fantastic. Any idea of the magic wand? Would it be more resources?
My magic wand would be for students just to be more active and they know that they have someone to go to and speak to when they are down and they don't understand what's going on.
Yeah.
Because I noticed that a lot of students, they kind of give up because they don't have someone in their corner to give them the advice that they need just to keep pushing and keep going.
That's a good point. That's kind of the one point that's jumping out here, isn't it? Yeah. Thank you for that. Christy, how about you? Yeah, you may have to be that way.
Currently, I'm the president of my chapter, New Sigma Upsilon Sorority Incorporated. I'm a process during the organization. And planning events and doing things on campus is great, but it's also difficult, as Ron said, to get students involved and to receive help from the university due to the funds. So if I had a magic wand, that's where I would directed towards adding more resources to the university, more community and university involvement and support for the organizations on campus.
Great. How about 5 years from now?
5 years from now, I'm graduating next May, and I'm also studying criminal justice and biology. On Spencer's speech. And I want to pursue pathology, so I will be a pathologist assistant, so I will be pursuing a physician assistant program in Rutgers, New York.
Love that. Okay, I stand down on my one and only man. Ryan, how about you?
As far as the magic wand goes, definitely more counseling, higher ed. OSP, EOF, they have a wonderful support system as far as counselors go. Also, more mentors. I think, like during our summer program, we have peer counselors, like peer mentors and things like that. And I think that that's a critical role in helping students advance in school and keeping them in there. So definitely more resources for that, and just resources for programs like EOF and OSP in general. 5-year plan, hope to be in a doctorate program somewhere. I want to study existentialism and hopefully incorporate that into school counseling. So hopefully that's where I'll be.
Dan, we could use you down in Trenton. I love that. Thank you, Ryan.
For the magic wand, I would like to piggyback off of everyone else because as an OSP student, you're offered resources that other students and friends aren't offered. So sometimes you have friends that are complaining to you about like something and you already had it done because your mentor or your advisor helped you out with it.
Yep.
So you kind of then become the mentor for that friend or the other classmate, student, or whatever it may be. And you have to help them. However, if the resources were already available to them, then they wouldn't have to ask another student or classmate. Although it's not a problem for them to ask, but the resources should be available to them. And 5 years from now, I see myself graduating with an MBA and working for a global business company that allows me to travel.
Love that. I've done that. I can give you some reflections on that. Thank you. Alberti, too much?
So for the magic wand too, I would say that definitely agree with what everyone said in terms of the mentors. That was something very important, big for me. I started college with that. I think something that I was considering, something that I would like to help in the future is going back to students in high school and letting them know the opportunities that they have and the support that they can get into college, because as Adam mentioned, sometimes we click that box, sometimes not even knowing what exactly it is. So I think that if students in high school are aware that they have that opportunity, they definitely take more into consideration the advantage of coming to college, because it's not so much, I would say, about the money. It doesn't matter if you have the funds if you don't get the support. You know, it's having the whole package together. So if they are aware that not only are they going to get the funding, but also the support behind them to help them get them ready and help them get them through all the whole entire college year, like UF did for me. I think that's something that will make a huge difference. In terms of 5 years from now, as I mentioned, I'm graduating in May in finance, but I've currently been doing real estate in your city for about 3 years since I was 18. So I'm planning to stick to that, something that I'm very interested in, and applying everything that I have learned into that and to grow my own business. I mainly focus on working with a lot of first-time buyers that originally are from Jersey City. So that's something that I take pride on, because I can help a lot of people achieve their dream of obtaining their first home.
I love that. You all don't know this, but we're actually, the 5 of us are here to get career advice and other services that we are. Christian, how about you?
So for me, for my magic wand, I see continuing to develop student leaders on campus and encouraging them. Because one thing that stood out to me when I came to NJC especially was the students and how they embraced me, especially as a freshman or orientation. They just have a real positive outlook on the university. They gave me so many resources, how to get involved, what to do, and what the importance is of being in college and making a difference and leaving a legacy on this campus. And so I feel like that's really important to continue and motivate people who may not have the courage to do certain things, but they have the potential and they just need that little push to encourage them. And where I see myself in 5 years is continue to be a writer, because I love writing books. I wrote a book with my father back in 2010 about how, as an inspired kid, helped elect Barack Obama as president, going out in the streets, campaigning, knocking on doors. And I'm just really into politics and really into different things, so I see myself in that field as well. Maybe I could run for office or at some point, who knows? We'll see where God takes me, but I definitely want to continue to write, and I do want to have my own business at some point as a corporate psychologist.
Wow, that's all great. Great stuff. Spencer, round us out here.
Alrighty. I'll start with the magic wand. One thing that really helped me at this university when I came in was leadership. I remember once again when I first got here, meeting Ryan, who was also my tutor at the time, and he is still my tutor, thanks to OSP. One thing he always taught me was to be able to help others as he helped me, which I passed down to Mr. Christian here and a few other students that I've worked with. Now, when I speak to students about retention rate, because I also work in the advisement center, most of the time, yes, it's about money, it's about tuition, but majority of the time it's also about students not being involved, and because they're not involved, they feel like, you know, they're not welcome, they're not needed. And something that actually helped me was the fact that I had a mentor when I got here, so I try to do the same to others. I try to reach out to others. And by reaching out to others, you know, just let them know that we're here for you. We're here for you in any way, whether it's regarding academics, anything regarding outside, like, you know, it doesn't always have to be about school. They might be having family issues that you can help with, things of that nature. And that's something that I've always been into, leadership, peer mentoring, and things of that nature. So definitely I would say let's enforce that, like everybody else said. 5 years from now, like my good friend Christy over there, I always been interested in working as a medical examiner. I've been to research since I was in high school. So right after my master's graduation, which will be next May 2019, I definitely look into enrolling at Rutgers University or Cooper's Medical School to study research in medical examining. Thank you.
As the senator just said, to reiterate, we could use help in the space. What great answers. So inspiring. I think we're going to take a couple of questions from our friends from the press, and then we'll give it a wrap. Madam President, Senator, Secretary. Anybody got anything, please?
Good morning. Afternoon.
It's now afternoon.
It's now afternoon. Your proposed budget increases spending for higher education by tens of millions of dollars, but to do that, your budget also proposes raising taxes. To get the Senate Democrats on board is critical, obviously, but they're still calling this, I think, a last resort for tax increases. How do you propose to convince them to increase those taxes, especially since your relationship with Senate President Steve Sweeney has been somewhat fraught of late?
So I mentioned that the framework that we talk about all the time is a stronger, fairer New Jersey that works for everybody. So we're coming out, you have to step back and say, what have we inherited? We've inherited a mess fiscally, and we've inherited now 8 years where the middle class has been ignored, some would say ravaged, where the dreams of those who look up to get into the middle class have been broken, and that's what I was growing up. I grew up working poor. And so this budget is first and foremost reversing that. Now, we can't build Rome in a day. It doesn't do everything overnight, but it's a historic investment back into the middle class and the dreams of those who aspire to get into the middle class. And while there are a number of sources, and that, by the way, that's increased TAG grants, EOF money, it's beginning the path toward universal pre-K, universal free community college, a major historic step toward fully funding K through 12 funding formula. It's a historic investment in NJ Transit. For those of you who have been paying through the nose and getting worse and worse service. So it's got lots of different elements to it, all of which are directed in that lens, through that lens, to the middle class and the dreams of those who aspire to get into it. We're finding the money through a number of different ways. By the way, please God, can we start growing the economy again? We haven't grown for 8 years. So if you follow me around every day, you'd see me spending a disproportionate amount of time on the growth side, attracting companies to come here, making those long-term investments like an innovation hub in New Brunswick, et cetera. But the two big resources make sense, which is why I'm confident that we're going to find common ground with the legislature. And that is, one, the wealthiest among us have had a very good ride for 8 years. President Trump's going to extend that ride and probably improve it at the federal level. Let's ask those folks, this is not class warfare, this is tax equity. Let's get those folks to pay a little bit more, their fair share. It's closing corporate loopholes that most other states have closed. It's finally closing egregious hedge fund loopholes. And it's undoing what was a complete tax gimmick, which was to knock the sales tax down by 3/8 of a penny, just so that my predecessor could say I didn't raise taxes when the gas tax was raised to fund the Transportation Trust Fund. And by the way, that I don't make light of any $1, but that cut on the sales tax, if you make between $75,000 and your family makes between $75,000 and say $120,000 a year, that's going to cost you $85. And I don't make light of any one of those $85, but we're going to deliver multiples of that back into that same family through education, transportation, and other investments. I say that because at the end of the day, this is not radical. This is common sense. This is undoing a lot of damage, and it's setting forward a vision for how we're going to get there. I'm very optimistic that we're going to find common ground. It's a process, so we don't get there overnight. I think it's a good process. The governor presents a budget. The leadership, by the way, notwithstanding everything you might read, we meet and talk all the time. There'll be hearings, as the senator and the assemblywoman know better than I. It's transparent. I think New Jersey does it in a good way, and that, God willing, we'll get there. We'll find that common ground well in advance of the end of the fiscal year, which is June 30th. Please. Any one of you back.
Governor, last week you were talking about two of your education nominees not having their confirmation votes move forward, and you raised the issue of race. Why did you bring up race, and were you suggesting that the Senate President is a racist?
No, I'm not suggesting for 1 second that anybody's a racist. Let me just say, go back to the lens in which we're seeing this. We have extraordinary talent that we've been lucky and fortunate to assemble. We share a common vision, and I think the Senate President, the Speaker, the members of both chambers share that vision for a stronger and fairer New Jersey that reeks in everything we do. The common ground overwhelms any amount of things or disagreements we see differently. I'm very confident we'll get our whole team over the goal line, and more importantly, we're going to get the stronger and fairer New Jersey that we're trying to build. Please.
Governor, on Atlantic City, your administration...
The what city, sir?
On Atlantic City.
Yes.
Your administration the other day announced some changes in the state oversight. Do you believe that Atlantic City's financial troubles are behind it? Has it turned a corner, and how much farther does it need to go?
Atlantic City has, without question, turned a corner. There's no question about that, but it still has a ways to go. And so I had said, as a campaign matter, and I had said in transition and now in government, that Atlantic City is probably the most unique community in the state when you look at the dynamic, the seasonal dynamic, the visiting dynamic. It's only 39,000 residents. But if you looked at the amount of visitors, you would think it was New York City. And that means there's huge inequities in terms of the support we need to properly embrace that reality. So what I had a big issue with, and we've now begun to undo this, is the big footing, the taking over of Atlantic City. We've now gotten ourselves on a path toward what I think is the better model, which is we're partnering with Atlantic City. And that, to me, is the right way to think about this. That the state is there for Atlantic City. It's got a ways to travel without question. It's definitely off the map, definitely going in the right direction. but it has a ways to go. So whether it's Jim Johnson, who's working very closely, both in coordinating with Sheila Oliver and myself, whether it's any amount of other steps that we take, I think we're evolving pretty rapidly from that takeover mentality to that partnership mentality. That's what Atlantic City deserves. That to me is the right model to get it back on its feet. Maybe one more, Danny, is that all right?
Going back a minute, what did you make of Sweeney comparing you to Donald Trump? And two, I heard that your staff met about sports betting yesterday, and I wonder what's the latest on that?
My staff did what, sir?
Met with the NBA and MLB on sports betting, or I think your chief of staff. It's been reported. I don't know if that's true.
It's been reported. I wasn't in the room.
I know you were in the room. So first, what do you make?
I'm going to the Devils game tonight. I'm going to be late, but I'm going to get there.
So one, what do you make of the Donald Trump comment?
I thought it was a good line. I'm a big fan of Steve's, and we have an enormous amount in common. And don't believe everything you read, or in your case, that you're right.
But in terms of sports betting,
I actually listen. I am praying that we get it. I am not a lawyer. The folks who study the Supreme Court, I actually had a good conversation back now many months ago with Governor Christie, who is a lawyer, who was actually in the room, I believe, for the last hearing. The folks I talked to have a sense of optimism around them. There's always this question of when. I think we'll know at latest by June. I'm optimistic. I think it was a nice idea 40 years ago. It makes no sense in the world in which we live today. I think we're going to close it with that. I want to most importantly thank these 7 extraordinary students. I want to thank Sue, Madam President. What a treat to be here in this great university and in this wonderful room, I might add, if that weren't enough. Zakiya Smith-Ellis, thank you for all your work and service to this state and what you're doing in higher ed in particular to make it more accessible and affordable. Assemblywoman, it's an honor to be with you. I love not just your life story, but what you do every day. And last but not least, to the person I think is in the first 5 figures of elected officials that I met in this state many, many moons ago, Senator Cunningham. It is a thrill, as always, to be with you. Thank you all for being here.